In this lesson, students will learn about business intelligence. BI is more than just standard reporting, as it can be used for complex, cross-functional decision-making at all levels of the enterprise. Companies use BI to improve the quality and timeliness of decision-making, cut costs, and identify new business opportunities. Financial services, telecom, and retail industries are the leaders in the utilization of BI. Their ability to transform ordinary data into knowledge for intelligent decision-making is a critical success factor. Before we examine business intelligence, a discussion on data is in order. Business data is used very differently throughout the organization. The hierarchical data grid best illustrates these differences. Let's start at the bottom. The operational level is the point of origination for most of a company's data. The data is produced through business applications that enable the commerce activities of selling, building, and supporting our products and services. Business transactions are for the current period, and volumes are high. The key users are frontline supervisors and operational employees. An example would be a banking deposit application used by the bank supervisor and the teller line. The banking deposit application provides very standard reporting on current deposit activity. At the next level, we have tactical data. The primary users are mid-managers that are responsible for the oversight of company operations as defined by company strategy and goals. The source of their data is predominantly from the operational level, and they use this data for coordination and control. The reporting is lightly aggregated and summarized with a focus on exception activity. For example, the reporting would identify those clients that have an outstanding receivable balance over 60 days. Finally, at the top level we have strategic data utilized by senior management. This is used predominantly for strategy and planning. It is also used for mid-management and operational decision support. The nature of strategic data is very different from the lower levels, as it is historical, highly summarized, often presented graphically in pie charts or bar graphs, and may include data from external sources. An example would be demographic information about a bank's checking clients over a 5-year period. It might include average balances and information on what other banking products these clients use. This information could be combined together with data from an external source that maps an entire market to a geographical territory. Executives are not focusing on any one client, but instead on groups of clients to analyze past patterns and predict future trends. In this example, executives might use this analysis to support a very important strategic decision, such as expanding banking branches into a new geography. Business data is very basic and is simply a digitized recording of business events. But business wants to transform these digital assets into information that can be leveraged for business advantage. This means accurate information made available across the enterprise, when we need it, and in the format that supports our users' activities. Transforming data into information that can be used for intelligent business decisions has been and continues to be a major challenge. Let's examine further the IT constraints to business intelligence and then look at various BI solutions. Businesses today have a multitude of disparate applications that support the business. We learned about this in our discussion on IT complexity. And all of these applications are a source and/or destination of data. Operational applications collect and store very high volumes of data that is used by operational personnel. The standard reporting made available by these applications is very good and generally supports the users of that application. But when we ask a complex business question about the data that resides in many different applications, we begin to have a problem. The problem increases if our query includes current year data together with historical data that might go back 5 or more years. If the data resides in different locations, perhaps different companies or divisions, it is a problem. Standard reporting cannot answer these types of multi-dimensional questions. And these are the kinds of questions that business executives and others are asking today. Executives want to be able to pose a question. No one knows exactly where the answer will be found, so the ability to navigate through the data is required. Fixed format reports work great at the operational level because the business process is predictable, but it won't get the job done when, as you are searching for your answers, you are reframing your questions. When you are engaged in this type of ad hoc reporting, something interesting happens. You discover things, and this leads to further hypotheses, and perhaps new questions. Business intelligence is the solution. BI is not an out-of-the-box solution. It is a collection of tools and applications that enable executives and other users to ask complex questions and produce multi-dimensional reporting. The components of BI can be broken down into three major groups. 1. Client side, which includes online analytical processing software for the end user. Powerful and very graphical, this is known as OLAP. It also might include a powerful display that integrates data from many geographical and disparate data sources. Jack Welch at GE was an original user of the digital dashboard. Number 2. Server-side technology includes a repository for information that has been extracted from multiple and disparate data sources. This is a data warehouse, and they are by definition extremely large and require management by a database management system. A smaller and more manageable repository is a data mart. To enhance usability, it organizes data functionally. An example would be a data mart with sales and marketing information designed specifically for use by the marketing department, or perhaps a data mart with information on accounting or personnel. These are quick to build and less costly than an enormous data warehouse. The process of extracting data for the creation of a data mart or data warehouse involves major changes to the data. Metadata is data about data, and it enables us to know where the data came from and what data transformation has taken place. 3. We have the middleware. The most notable is the extract, transform, and load process, or ETL. This is a set of tools that extracts the original source data and then reformats, cleanses, and standardizes the data, then loads it into a repository where it can be accessed for multidimensional reporting and analysis. Without a doubt, the ETL process is the most challenging part of creating a BI solution, and of these, it is the transform step that is the most difficult. An example would be extracting a financial services industry company's financial and customer data from applications that reside in the USA and European Union. For logical and effective analysis, the data must be transformed to be consistent and comparable. The currency will have to be converted into either euros or US dollars. Likewise, since the US or European date formats are different, one must be chosen as the standard. There are semantic issues too. Perhaps the European application refers to customers, and in the US application they are labeled as clients. A standard label must be chosen. Or perhaps data that is labeled status code in one application is the same thing as status ID in another application. And finally is the effort of merge-purge, where the data is merged together and duplicates are purged. For example, duplicate customer records that exist in multiple applications are removed. Of course, all of these components require a network for connectivity. So now, let's look at several graphical depictions of how a BI solution can be constructed. Depicted here is a standard data warehouse. Selected source data from what could be dozens or hundreds of operational applications is shown on the left. The ETL process extracts the data into a staging area so as not to degrade the performance of the operational environment. It is then transformed and loaded into the data warehouse repository along with the important metadata. Now, on the far right, our client OLAP software tool enables the end user to ask complex multidimensional questions about the data within the warehouse. Typically, a warehouse is updated monthly with new information. It is thought of as a monthly snapshot of the business, and a data warehouse can contain many years of such historical snapshots. Executives and analysts use the data for planning and strategy, so real-time information is not required. The data is aggregated and summarized for analysis, and individual transactions are not available or necessary. The data in the warehouse is for query only and cannot be changed, and as such, it is considered non-volatile. A data warehouse is a very powerful asset built for a wide enterprise audience. It is, however, costly and time-consuming to build. Some users felt there was too much data in the warehouse, and traversing through the data that is unfamiliar was confusing and inconvenient. An alternative is the data mart. This next model depicts independent data marts that derive data directly from the operational environment. Data marts can be thought of as mini data warehouses that have a functional orientation for a specific group of users. For example, accountants. They are considered quicker to build and easier to use. Today, many companies are deferring the construction of a full data warehouse and instead building quick and affordable data marts. Beyond the differences discussed above, data marts provide all the same BI advantages as a data warehouse. The ultimate solution, and considered best of both worlds, is the three-layer warehouse that combines the big data warehouse repository together with the data marts. The data marts are dependent on the data warehouse as their data source. These, as you might expect, are expensive, complex to build, and beyond the reach of most companies. Let's review the key points we've discussed. As you can see, the main difference between a warehouse and a data mart is that a data mart is smaller in scope and functionally organized. The data in both is historical. Additionally, there is another form of repository that collects real-time data and is used by operational personnel for operational and tactical purposes. This is an operational data store, or ODS. These are generally large, like warehouses. ODS is an evolving business intelligence solution. An ODS can provide an operational employee with critical data for real-time decision-making, aka empowerment. For example, an order entry clerk named Joe at ABC Global Trading Company in California is taking a small order from XYZ Company, a local customer. XYZ is over their credit limit, and policy requires a credit hold and a cash-only transaction. But Joe is able to access an ODS that has up-to-the-second real-time information on all of ABC customers worldwide. Joe discovers that XYZ is ABC's largest customer worldwide. With this operational information, Joe makes a decision to override the credit hold and takes the order on credit. Operational business intelligence translates into empowerment. This flattens the organization by driving decisions closer to the customer, where they should be. Here's a list on the major BI vendors. These companies all provide different combinations of tools and applications for client, server, and middleware components. This is a conceptual graphic of multidimensional OLAP. Desktop tools such as Cognos or business objects provide the end user with different views of the data in a point-and-click graphical environment. In this example, the dimensions are product, region, and units sold. At the click of a mouse, the end user could change the region dimension to a gender dimension to analyze how many units were sold by product and by gender. Of course, as we have learned, the data for this would reside in a warehouse or data mart repository. The following slides provide an example of how a multi-dimensional point-and-click OLAP tool such as Cognos can be used to answer the question, who is my customer? This is an electronics retailer. The dimensions are units sold, regions, and products. Other dimensions are available in the boxes above through point-and-click navigation. As we can see, the Northeast is seeing higher sales, and we can click this to isolate that region and move to the next slide to see the result. Instantly, we are provided with a district view, as well as views of units sold and products. It shows us that the New York district is seeing sales success, and we can further isolate this by clicking on it. Let's move to the next slide to see the result. Again, instantly, we display the sales by product for the New York district, and we can see that the Sites product line is the mover. Let's click on Sites and move to the next slide to see the result. Within the Sites product line, we now discover that the big seller is flat panel TVs. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've been doing here, and that is slicing through data and drilling down into lower levels of detail. As you can see, it's quick and powerful. Additionally, we have been able to navigate in an ad hoc manner, not a fixed format. We may have made discoveries of new information. But let's now stop here. Who's buying flat panel TVs? To find this answer, we need to change our dimension. So let's click on the age dimension in the drop-down box on the far right and move to the next slide to see the result. And this shows us that the age of our ideal customer is 30 to 39. We can isolate this group and move to the next slide to see the result. This displays customers between the ages of 30 and 39 and the product this age group buys. But what is the gender of these buyers? To find this answer, we need to change a dimension once again. So let's click on the gender dimension in the drop-down box on the far right and move to the next slide to see the result. Finally, we discover male customers between the ages of 30 and 39 are excellent prospects for flat panel TVs. This is the power of multi-dimensional OLAP tools. Of course, behind the scenes, we are supported by ETL tools, database management system repositories, and network connectivity. Another tool for end users is a digital dashboard, usually an executive's tool. A dashboard combines operational data along with historical data. It provides a window by which an executive can watch the wheels of commerce turn in real time. This is visibility. And in any industry, visibility is critical. The display technology of a dashboard is basic. It is the plumbing behind the scenes to create a dashboard that is the challenge. This requires integration middleware that can combine current and historical data from disparate platforms, database management systems, and network connectivity. This is a dashboard example from the financial services industry. Business intelligence has been embraced by both technology and business managers. It is not an out-of-the-box solution that you just buy and install. A company must buy the tools and products and assemble the solution. As a newer technology, most companies lack BI experience. So while the technology risk may be low, the project risk is high. Data security is a very serious concern. Because a company's data is usually spread across the enterprise, there's a degree of protection. But when a BI solution is implemented, the company has selected what it feels is its most important data and placed it in one location, a data repository. The risk is obvious. A successful BI solution will require more and more storage and more processing power to accommodate the growth. This means scalability is an important design consideration, but also an acknowledgement that it will be costly to maintain. The payback, of course, will come not from the technology, but from the quality of the intelligence. This slide provides 6 key elements that support quality intelligence. They're all important, but accuracy may be the most important. For if end users have even the slightest perception that the data is not accurate, they will never return to your BI site. The statistics here and elsewhere clearly show that BI can deliver business advantage. It also makes a case for the cost to business of not having a business intelligence solution. So what is the BI answer set? It is certainly not standard reporting. It is the ability to ask complex ad hoc questions, to navigate in search of answers and make discovery. For our executives, it is a window of visibility that provides intelligence for understanding the past and support for strategy and decisions that will affect the future.